Donnerstag Daily. Let's get right to the news. President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy are set to meet today to discuss the looming debt ceiling crisis. The Treasury Department warns that the U.S. could default as early as June 1st if an agreement is not reached. This is where political theater meets financial apocalypse. Biden and McCarthy discussing the debt ceiling. It's like a bad joke with a $1 trillion punchline. If the debt ceiling were a Netflix series, we'd be stuck in the cliffhanger forever. At any rate, a Treasury warning feels like getting a low battery alert on a cross country flight. It's going to be a long ride. Speaking of rising costs, though, the UK's Office for National Statistics reports that inflation has unexpectedly risen to 10.2% in April, higher food and energy prices coming with it. Looks like their economy decided to take up skydiving without a parachute. Inflation at 10.2% is not a report, it's a horror story. With UK inflation that high, even monopoly money has more purchasing power. Inflation is so bad, even the Royal Guard might start charging for selfies. Means the only thing growing faster than prices are people's regrets about Brexit, like regrets it. Looks like the only thing not inflating is our paychecks. So it's a very expensive roller coaster, one you must be this rich to ride. Speaking of skyrocketing, China is launching its latest lunar mission, Chang'e 6, aiming to bring samples from the far side of the moon back. It underscores China's growing ambitions in space exploration. One small step for man, and one giant leap for lunar real estate. So China's on the moon while I'm still figuring out garage Wi-Fi or my microwave. Yeah, well, moon rocks might actually make better souvenirs than keychains. So, speaking of explosions, though, the Ukrainian counteroffensive in the eastern Donbass region comes amid reports of heavy fighting and attempts to reclaim territory from Russian control. Ukraine's new counteroffensive sounds like Russia's about to get an unsolicited geography lesson. Nothing says home field advantage, though, like actually fighting on your home field. The underdogs are biting back. It's like Rocky, but with more tanks. Speaking of fighting back, the World Health Organization has declared the global monkeypox emergency over. This decision follows a significant drop in cases and the successful rollout of vaccines in affected regions. So now we can go back to ignoring the next pandemic until it's too late. Guess you'll all have to find another reason to hoard toilet paper. Maybe we can go back to worrying about regular pox now. Speaking of health updates, a recent study shows that AI powered diagnostic tools are improving accuracy and efficiency in medical diagnoses. Hospitals adopting these technologies report shorter patient wait times and better outcomes. On the pro side, robot nurses never need coffee breaks. You don't have to worry about bad handwriting with your doctor, but your AI overlords are also going to know more about your health than you do. Soon it will be checkmate. Speaking of the robot takeover, Meta, formerly Facebook, announced a major expansion of its virtual reality platform, Horizon Worlds. The company plans to introduce new features and expand access to more countries. So now you can avoid reality in even more places. Regular reality wasn't dystopian enough. Now you can lose touch with reality without leaving your couch. Spe- Speaking of escaping reality, the U.S. Labor Department reports the jobless claims rose to 245,000 last week, indicating potential softening in the job market. Economists are watching closely for signs of economic slowdown. Jobless claims are up. Quiet quitting just got a whole lot louder. Looks like layoffs are the new company retreat. Even the unemployment office is hiring on the spot. Looks like job security might now be an oxymoron. Speaking of jobs, French President Emmanuel Macron faces widespread protests about his proposed pension reforms, including raising the retirement age, and nationwide strikes are sparking. In protest, France, I mean, that's where retirement dreams go to die because growing old isn't hard enough. The baguettes won't pay for themselves. Making sure you never retire, so age is really just a number. It looks like dreams of retirement are turning into nightmares. Speaking of tension, a 6.8 magnitude earthquake has struck the island of Sumatra in Indonesia, causing widespread damage and casualties. Rescue operations are underway as authorities assess the full extent of the impact. As if things weren't shaky enough, Sumatra earthquake is proof that the only thing stable in the world is instability. Their tectonic plates are shaking things up in the worst way possible. Nature really needs a timeout right now. But speaking catastrophic, the UN report of global temperatures rising by 2.5 degrees Celsius by 2050 is causing dramatic cuts. Well, if there aren't cuts, soon we're going to need SPF 1000. Time to invest in beachfront property in Nebraska. We're cooking up a disaster so hot you can boil an egg on it. It's time to invest in air conditioning stocks. So much for winter. It's time to start growing our shade trees right now. But speaking of environmental action, over 170 countries have agreed to a new international treaty aimed at reducing plastic waste. It's a measure to cut production and improve recycling efforts worldwide. If only they could agree on climate change. Still a reason to celebrate with a reusable cup, though, hopefully. Even trash does need rules. Maybe next they'll tackle world peace. Speaking of going green, global sales of electric vehicles surged by 35% in the first quarter of 24, according to a new industry report. This growth is driven by increased consumer demand and government incentives. Looks like everyone's getting tired of gas prices. Time to start calling gas cars vintage. So, green is the new black, it looks like. Speaking of successful marketing, Apple announced its new latest product lineup, including the iPhone 15 and new MacBook models. It has improved processing power and enhanced camera systems. Cue the ritual of selling your old phone for less than it's worth. Its iPhone 15 is coming with 20% more features you'll never use for 20% more ridiculous price. And grab a MacBook because you didn't need those kidneys anyway. It does prove you can sell last year's technology at next year's prices. This is just in time for your current phone to mysteriously slow down. All right, guys, this has been Donnerstag Daily. Have a great night.